Hi, how are you? We are continuing with the portions of Vayeikra, mitzvah of sacrifices. Sacrifices, though we are not observing anything anymore nowadays, but those days Jewish people were observing all the sacrifices and they're offering the sacrifices towards God. But what these sacrifices were giving, or were making them to do, what was the benefit that they had? One of the thing is that when they submit themselves, when they surrender themselves, when they offer the sacrifices to God, they feel that, or they realize that they were drawn closer to God, more closer to God, submitting and surrendering themselves and not repeating the things that it's going to happen in their future one more time. And there were covenants made with the sacrifices. you know by the way, most of the covenants, maybe all of the covenants, are only given to the Jewish people, not to the Gentile people. We are claiming their covenants. We are claiming the benefits of the covenants. We are trying to take all the benefits of the covenant, staying outside Israel, not joining with them, not understanding their culture, not learning about them, not being part of that, but we want only the benefit out of the country, benefit out of the culture, benefit out of the group, which is logically it's not working. It's not. That's the reason. That's the reason now the Gentile world is so powerless in this world. So what I'm trying to say is that dig out those things and find out their habits and meanings and why they did it, what they did. It does make a lot of sense. It doesn't mean that I want all of you to go and offer some goat or sheep. No. No. But I'm just trying to understand the sacrifices so that we can get benefited more of that one. That's the main point of it. So when they were doing these offerings, there were covenants made. One of the covenants made was the salt covenant. People were offering meals, people were offering vegetables, or people were offering the animals. So one of the covenants were made with God. So whenever you offer this meal offering, the meal should be salted. There was no food that you will be offering to God without salt. Salt is very important. Salt is really a very concerned those days, because we cannot eat food without salt. A normal person may not be eating food without salt. When you offer to King, when you offer to God, you better make sure that your food is salted. The food must be salted. Any meal should be salted. Salt covering is very important. I will tell you why it is. We know very well that, like when the God created the world, He separated the waters from, heavenly waters and the earthly waters. Earthly waters seems to be more contaminated than the heavenly waters. There's a space between these waters, both the waters, So, in the heavenly waters, they went into rivers and oceans and everything. Oceans have tons and tons of salt in it. But how this is getting salted up, how this salt is formed, what happens is water evaporates itself and to bring out some salt out of it. So I hope you can slightly understand what I'm trying to come over here. When the water sacrifices itself into a gaseous status, it evaporates itself, to make salt. Salt is not a product just like that it came out. Salt is a product of some sacrifice has been made by the water, by the ocean. Salt is not just available by itself. It is a product of something. It is a sacrificial product of something. Water, it destroys himself into a different state. It elevates into a different state, and then it gives us salt. God is compared to ocean and water. Do you remember one thing? In Israel is a Dead Sea. Dead Sea is full of salt. Nowhere in the world there's no Dead Sea. God said to Jewish people, to Israel people, you are the salt of the world. You are the salt of the world. Salt is not only used in food for the taste purposes, it's also preservative. It preserves the food. always it does preserve the food. So Jewish people, or the nation of Jewish, are the salt of the world. That's what the commandment given to them. So salt is not an ordinary thing as we think. No, when we take I am the salt and you are the salt of the world, understand the value of it. You are a byproduct of some sacrificial act has been done for you. That's what the Jesus Christ is. He sacrificed himself, and he said that you are the salt of the world. So your value is much more than anything else. You are a valuable person. Because we don't know, or we don't read the Bible properly. We don't take time to read it in a proper way, so that we don't understand the value, real value of ourselves in this world. Because you are a byproduct of Jesus. You are the salt of Jesus, because this is the core thing that we should understand. Because we know Christianity is just not going out there and then sitting down, and come out. No, we should understand ourselves. We should know who we are. I am the salt. If I'm a salt, what from where I came, how I was made, how I became a salt. That's the problem. So, we need to make sure that we, understand properly what the Bible talks about. That the sacrifices, they clearly talks about this one. When you offer something to God, your offerings being thrown into the fire, your animals are thrown into the fire, and they get burned up, and then the flame reaches, the skies, and the smoke reaches the sky, and then, the smell or the aroma of those things reaches God, then there is an intimate relation between, or connection between God and you has been made. That's the sacrificial offerings were given to those days. My folks, Vayeikra is a mitzvah of sacrifices. There are 613 covenants in the Bible. We all knew only 10 covenants. 10 commandments, that's what we call. But yes, 613 commandments were there in the Bible. And then we call them only 10 commandments, because the 10 commandments were strictly handwritten by God. That's all we knew. There were all other commandments are there. We may not be able to follow everything, because the commandments are different. Commandments are given to individual person, for a father, for a son, for the mother, for the wife, for the family, for a priest, so these are different commandments. We may not be able to observe everything, but we will be able to observe. We should be able to observe what we are supposed to. That's what the commandments are. So you cannot neglect the olden ways of practices. So I'm not telling again one more time, you can go back and start your sacrificial services. No, it is not that one, but I'm trying to tell that when sacrifices are given, offered to God, to draw closer to ourselves. You are the salt of the world. We are the salt of the world, and we have the value. And like when we take sacrificial services, what type of a sacrificial service that we take? Are we just doing some kind of some kind of a fasting and prayer? How we offer? There are a lot of songs about, we are offering by thanks, we are offering by singing, we are offering by lip offering, that offering. Does it reaches the heavens? Does it make some connection to the heavens? Does it draw the closer attention of God? Think about it, my folks. Think about it. Your being and my being, so very important in this world. We are the salt of the world. Jesus said that you are the salt of the world. So we are the byproduct of God. Oceans and, other natures, they do their job perfectly all right. But only the human beings, we are not correcting ourselves. Vayeikra, mitzvah of sacrifices. Commandments or covenants of sacrifices. One more time, I'm trying to tell you, the main purpose of these videos are to make sure that we are attaching ourselves to the roots. That's my bottom line. I'll come back with another Torah next time. Until then, be safe and be blessed. Bye.